When it comes to a hypothetical battle between Russia and Ukraine, the outcome is far from certain. Both countries have powerful militaries and a long history of conflict between them. While Russia has more overall military power than Ukraine has been no surprise in the past. In this video, we will be taking an in-depth look at both countries' militaries and examining their relative strengths and weaknesses in order to answer the question, who would win in a battle between Russia and Ukraine? When it comes to a potential battle between Russia and Ukraine, one cannot help but wonder who would come out on top. In this video, we will explore the military capabilities of both countries and analyze their strengths and weaknesses in order to determine who would win in a hypothetical battle. We will discuss the size of each nation's military, their strategic advantages, and the impact of outside influences on the outcome. With this knowledge, we will be able to draw a conclusion as to which country would be victorious in the event of such a conflict. Hello, and welcome back in today's video. Today, we are going to discuss Russia's Ukraine military power in detail. Stay tuned. If you had not subscribed to our channel, then do subscribe and give a thumbs up to our video. The size of the armies. When it comes to military strength, army size is an important factor to consider. With about 845,000 active-duty soldiers, Russia has the largest military in Europe, and he is one of the largest in the world. This formidable army is supported by over 2 million additional reservists, making it one of the most powerful armies on the continent. Ukraine, on the other hand, has a much smaller army, with only 200,000 active-duty soldiers and 1.5 million reservists. Although Ukraine's military is much smaller than Russia's, it still makes up a large portion of the country's population and is capable of self-defense. Both countries also have relatively strong air and naval forces that could play a role in any conflict. Russia's air force consists of over 3,400 of her aircraft, while Ukraine has just over 400 of hers. In addition, the Russian Navy has about 350 ships, and the Ukrainian Navy has about 75 ships. As for weapons, Russia has access to some of the most advanced technology available, including nuclear capabilities and intercontinental ballistic missiles. The Ukrainian armed forces, on the other hand, although not as technologically advanced, have a wide range of ground weapons such as tanks, armored personnel carriers, APCs, and artillery systems. The quality of the armies. Looking at the quality of the armed forces, Russia and Ukraine have different strengths. Russia has a larger and more diverse army than Ukraine, which means it has access to a wider range of equipment, personnel, and experience. This will give you an advantage in terms of true quantity and quality. Russia also has extensive nuclear capabilities that Ukraine does not. Russia also has the latest technology and weapons, such as tanks, aircraft, and artillery. This allows you to fight on multiple fronts at once. Ukraine's armed forces, on the other hand, are smaller and more limited. Its military strength relies heavily on infantry and light infantry, with support from tanks, artillery, aircraft, and ships. Its military is not as modern as Russia's, so its combat tactics are limited. However, the Ukrainian military has recently undergone a major modernization program, and its troops are being trained by NATO forces. This allowed the Ukrainian army to become more effective in combat situations. Ukraine is also known for having experienced and highly motivated soldiers who have proven their capabilities in previous deployments. Overall, Russia has the advantage in terms of quantity and quality of weapons, as well as nuclear capabilities, while Ukraine has a well-trained and motivated army that can be a formidable foe in any battle. The quantity of weapons. Ukraine, on the other hand, has a much smaller army compared to Russia. His army is estimated at about 180,000 active soldiers and an unknown number of weapons and ammunition. It is not clear how many weapons Ukraine has, but it is certainly no match for Russia's vast arsenal of firepower. Overall, Russia has far more weapons and ammunition than Ukraine. It is no exaggeration to say that this could be an important factor in the possibility of a fight between the two countries. Russia is technically superior to Ukraine. Most of Ukraine's arsenal consists of outdated Soviet-era equipment, such as T-64 tanks, MiG-29 fighter jets, and S-300 air defense systems. These are all proven systems, but they lack the state-of-the-art of the Russian military. Russia has the world's most advanced weapon systems, including Su-35 fighter jets, the Iskander missile system, the S-400 air defense system, and the T-90 tank. As for naval power, Ukraine does not have a navy comparable to Russia. The Ukrainian navy consists of dozens of small ships, while the Russian navy boasts dozens of modern ships, submarines, and aircraft carriers. In addition, Russia's enormous size and geopolitical importance provide access to several strategically located ports, giving Moscow an additional logistical advantage when mobilizing troops for conflict. Advantages come. Ultimately, if Russia were to clash directly with Ukraine, there is no question who would win based solely on relative military strength. The experience of the soldiers. When it comes to military experience, both Russia and Ukraine have long traditions of training their soldiers in combat techniques. In Russia, the military has been an integral part of the country's culture for centuries and takes great pride in a well-trained soldier. Ukraine has fought in many conflicts and wars over the past century. It also has a rich military history. However, Russia is much more experienced in modern warfare as it has been involved in the Syrian civil war and other conflicts around the world. Russian forces are also highly trained and experienced in guerrilla warfare, and these advantage over the Ukrainian army, which is less accustomed to the tactics of ultimately. The Russian military seems to have a sizable edge when it comes to the level of experience of the forces in combat between the two countries. But there are other factors to consider. For example, Russia has a much larger military budget than Ukraine, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has access to better weapons and technology. Russia possesses advanced weapons such as tanks and fighter planes, but if it can make better use of its limited resources, the Ukrainian military may gain some ground. You could ask NATO or UN forces for help, but Russia couldn't do that so easily. This could allow Ukraine to further boost the potential for confrontation. The support of the people. Russia has a population of over 144 million and a large standing army. This strong military presence, combined with majority support for President Vladimir Putin, gives the country an edge in potential conflicts. Ukraine, on the other hand, has a population of about 42 million and a much smaller army. Ukraine has its own support base, but much smaller than Russia's. Moreover, due to its history of corruption and economic strife, the Ukrainian people are generally not very supportive of their government. The Russian army is highly trained, making it one of the most powerful armies in the world. They also have access to some of the most advanced weapons technology available and have spent decades perfecting the tactics they use, especially against NATO forces, lacking some of the resources at the disposal of the Russian army. Advanced weapons and years of experience. In addition, the Russian military also has an extensive intelligence network, which allows them to always stay one step ahead of their opponents. This allows you to anticipate enemy movements and plan accordingly, making them even more dangerous enemies. Additionally, Russia has invested heavily in cyber warfare capabilities that can be used to jam communications or manipulate data without anyone knowing. By contrast, Ukraine is still developing its cyber skills, which could put it at a disadvantage when facing an experienced adversary like Russia. Nevertheless, their chances are very slim when facing off against a powerful and well-equipped Russian military machine. Ukraine cannot counter such adversaries without international support from allies, such as NATO and Europe. What are your thoughts on this? Woe is more powerful? Do let us know in the comment section below. We'll see you in the next one.